A friend told me, it was probably time to let him go. Because he was struggling for years.
What I can say to you is how much I admire you for having the courage to even be on your own show tonight.
I just lost my mom a year ago, and as devastating as that was, at least I had time to say goodbye. But this kind of death is different.
Damn it, I'm tired of people thinking mental health is not real, that you just get over it.
I'm a therapist, and I still couldn't stop it. When someone really wants to end their life, you can't take that away from them.
It's so important for people to understand about people who are on the edge. They don't ask for help.
I too, just like so many other men, have felt this solitude. We can think about this as a great concept, right? Where men can be more vulnerable, but how we react to it is something different.
It's not getting better. We're sending people to the moon. We have AI create entire businesses for us, but we can't solve the mental health problem.
Welcome to the Meaning We Make podcast. I am Robin Chilton. I am the producer and director of this show. I am the man behind the scenes. I am the man behind the camera and just about everything else you see and hear on this show. Your host is here, but tonight she is my guest because just a month ago, she had one of the darkest days of her life. I have not been able to leave her alone this entire month, and I will say I was not going to leave her alone tonight. Just a month ago, her brother, Michael, took his own life. And tonight, she is not ready to talk about this, but we found it necessary to talk about this candidly, as difficult as it may be. This is still fresh in our minds. We have both experienced this, but I have not even come close to dealing with the kind of pain that my dear friend, Dr. Jennifer Musselman, has. It's an incredibly difficult thing to experience even as a bystander when you have a human being that you care about, as I care about you, dear, have that happen to somebody that is so close to them, their sibling. It's never not painful because you have to witness somebody that you love go through this. What I can say to you is how much I admire you for having the courage to even be on your own show tonight and talk to me about this, because nobody's ready a month after this happens. This is the 1 month anniversary of your younger brother, Michael, who we both know and love, taking his own life. And that is not something that anybody should take lightly. It's only appropriate that we talk about this during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, because why wouldn't we?
Some people would say there's shame involved about how he passed. Some people might think that I'm capitalizing on it. So I do have some reservation about that. And obviously I want to be respectful to my younger brother and protective of my family in doing this. But I'm doing a podcast on turning your pain into purpose. I have a sense of responsibility to be what I'm asking other people to be and how to show up with authenticity and truth. And damn it, I'm tired of people thinking mental health is not real, that you just get over it.
Yeah.
I'm a clinician and I keep a scholarship base of people because it matters to me to be able to have access. People, the middle class, even school teachers or people who work at Google but are managers, directors with, 3 kids.
Right.
Struggle to get mental health support because they're also trying to put their kids through college. Because why? Insurance does not cover it. And you know who is responsible? In my opinion, it is the companies This was part of my doctorate dissertation. If we can get an alignment of companies, saying we will not accept your insurance coverage unless you increase the benefits of mental health. And that's not going to solve for everything, but it's a higher access point. And if you have more people accessing it, more people believe it, that
Right.
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to have a bandage or a crutch in order for people to believe that someone's suffering.
Yeah. Because I only know Michael so well, I want to understand his story a little bit more from you.
Out of respect for my little brother, even though he's no longer with us, I'm going to share in a way that not only honors his life, but honors the people here,
Yeah.
but in hopes of helping people to never have to experience this in their own life. This is the second brother
Right.
I have lost to suicide. That's not normal. It's also the second family member that has experienced workplace violence and experienced PTSD.
Right.
That's not normal. It's not getting better. We're sending people to the moon. We have AI who can create entire businesses for us, but we
Right.
can't solve PTSD and the loneliness problem, the mental health problem. We can, but it's not as sexy.
Take me back. Take me back to your childhood. And I know that wasn't always easy, but take me back to that time.
My mom was a single mom to 6 children. Michael was 6 years younger. He and I did not share the same father. When Michael was about 5 years old, his father was awarded custody of him, and that was very traumatic. I remember the emotional pain that reverberated through the house. My mom was deeply pained by losing her younger son to custody. So we'd get him every other weekend, but I remember feeling that, and it became Iowa State news because that had never happened before. You're an older sibling. You
Yes.
feel this deep felt sense of responsibility to make sure the younger ones are okay.
Yeah.
But my younger brother wasn't living with me, and there's only so much you can do because I'm 11, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I take care of myself in a family with a mom who's trying to pay the bills for 6 kids.
Right.
There's not enough attention to go around when you're a single person. The amount of duress, not just stress, but duress between raising young children, 6, alone, and being financially strapped to where you're literally getting government support to make sure that you could put food on your children's table. God bless my mom. She always found a way. I love her dearly. We know she's passed, but she always found a way to make sure we were well clothed, had a roof over our head, and had food on our table.
Of course.
But that's not enough.
I want to bring up this topic, and I don't mean this in any way to insult anyone. You do not choose the home you are born into. And in that first 18 years of your life, you do not get to choose very much. So I think that goes for anybody who's come from a challenging home. Their parents probably did too.
Mm-hmm.
They don't deserve to be condemned for it. It is a reality.
I most definitely, along with my siblings, did not have an easy childhood.
Yeah.
There are so many people who can say the same thing.
Of course.
I need to acknowledge that. I got lucky. I had an intervention in 2nd grade through the Big Sister, Little Sister program.
Yeah.
She and her husband, from 2nd grade on, were talking to me about going to college. I was the first in my family to go to college.
Yeah.
They would take me school shopping and make sure I had nice clothes to wear to school.
Yeah.
They would take me and some friends to the amusement park that my family could certainly never afford. And more importantly, they would help me with my homework. They would take me out to the backyard and throw the baseball or become my basketball coach. They invested, they attuned to my emotions.
What a
They
gift, huh?
made me feel unique and special. And while my mom loved me deeply, there was not enough of her to go around. She was grateful that she had a kid that didn't need her so that she could attune to the ones that did.
Right.
And I get that. But that doesn't mean that just because a kid is doing well in school and ostensibly looks like she's got life on lockdown and by the time she's 10,
Yeah.
doesn't mean she doesn't need the attunement from their parent.
Absolutely.
All I will say is that, my mom moved to California when I was 14. So Michael, being 6 years younger, would have been still a pretty young kid. And at that time, he was living with his father on a farm. And I will just say that that came with its complications.
Right.
So that already sets someone up for questioning their sense of self.
Right.
What we would call complex PTSD.
Go into that a little bit more for me.
Complex PTSD is very different than PTSD. Michael ended up with both. He had complex PTSD, which is not one big event, but continuous emotional, developmental traumas that collectively over time lead to different impacts like attachment issues.
I've heard you mention the concept of little cuts.
Yeah, little cuts, emotional wounds, being dismissed or invalidated, highly critical parents, neglect.
Right. Anxiety in parenting.
Yeah, we call that emotional spillover. Kids are sponges. And I always say when parents say, well, we don't fight in front of the kids, I'm like, first of all, do your kids know how to fight in a healthy way? Because you can't get through life and not have a fight, a disagreement.
So what you're saying is that parents fight in front of their kids and that can be damaging unless, of course, they're fighting healthily.
That's right. Showing repair.
Right.
Rupture and repair.
But some people have never learned how to fight properly.
I would argue most.
Yeah.
Which is why I have a job.
Yeah.
There are skills to help you do that.
Of course.
For sure. But then you have other issues,
Yeah.
Maybe dad's out working all the time, and shows up for those sports meetings, but feels good, but doesn't know how to attune when you want to talk about something that hurt your feelings as a kid. Because a dad doesn't know how to connect emotionally.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, from working in drug and alcohol treatment as part of my training to become a clinician, the number one thing I learned very early on in watching the populations that came through, every little boy needs a dad to teach him how to become a man. Every little girl needs a dad to teach her who to date.
Yeah.
If they're heterosexual.
What to look for.
Yeah. Everyone's like, shout out to mom, which I agree. But dads play one of the most important roles for both boys and girls. And
yeah, you nailed it.
It's devastating to not have a solid father figure in your life.
Yeah.
As a boy in particular, but also girls.
I think I was fortunate enough in my life to have my parents are still together. All three of us have the same mom and dad. And you take that for granted, because there's a lot of people out there that could never say that. And to build that contrast, somebody who didn't have that, I can imagine, finds a different way to claw up. And I know Michael did. And I know he had a very good thing going.
My brother was a school teacher.
Yeah.
And coach. Very well liked school teacher and coach. Got cancer. Decided that the insurance that he got as a school teacher was not going to carry him through to get cured from cancer.
Right.
And so made the decision to become a, I call them prison guards, in the hometown in the Midwest that I'm from.
Right.
And it's a state prison. So it's not like a jail. There's some pretty hardcore criminals there.
Right.
So he took that position so that he could get better health insurance. How sad is that?
It's pretty sad.
This is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Long story short, he was called with a female guard to the cell of an inmate, and there was a mistake made, and they unlocked the door before my brother got there. And the guy jumped out and started kicking my brother in the head, ambushed him. He ended up with internal brain bleeding and needed to have brain surgery. That brain surgery caused him to lose his peripheral eyesight, which caused him in his early 40s to lose his ability to drive. You're a man.
Yeah.
What's that do to your sense of self?
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine. I feel like people are just sometimes one bad break away from a lot of things changing for them.
As we were saying, I think he had some challenges as a child from the ruptures of his parents not being emotionally attuned. And I'll just say that's the kindest way I can say it.
Yeah.
It's like sending someone to war. You know, there are people who are service people who come from a similar childhood home, and then they go off to war and fight in war, and then they're traumatized because they're being shot at and shooting, right? When he got jumped and then lost so much from it, that became trauma on top of massive trauma.
Yeah.
And he was fighting for his life. My brother had the same post-traumatic stress disorder you get when you go to war. You get emotional flashbacks.
Right.
You have nightmares. You have intrusive memories. You can't sleep because your body and brain are predicting and reenacting the trauma. We walked through an airport together after this happened, and he had to walk with his back against a wall to get through the airport just to ensure his safety. We went to a 49ers game, and my phone was plugged in over where he was sleeping on a cot. In the middle of the night, I got up. I wanted to check my phone about something. I reached over the cot, and he just shot up. And I said, "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up." The next thing I know, he's going into the shower. And the next thing I hear is this banging, banging, banging. So he gets out and I say, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And he goes, "I can't get it out of my head. I can't. I'm just trying. I was banging my head against the shower door trying to get it out of my." I had accidentally alerted. He went into hyperarousal state for his safety.
Yeah.
And he was started having emotional flashbacks, you know, and then he went to bed, but he had to put on like loud noise to try to distract himself.
Yeah.
Before we even went to the 49ers game, he had to sit in his house and practice. He put on the TV as loud as he could to be in an environment that was loud and chaotic.
Okay.
Because he knew he was going to be going to a stadium that was going to be like that, and that would be triggering for him.
Right.
This is what mental health is when you've had a traumatic event.
Right.
My sister, who went through a workplace shooting that was covered by CNN, I think in 2018 in Wisconsin, thank God survived, but she had severe PTSD as well. Did EMDR, was able to get through it, but like she would take baby steps to like go into like a clothing store, and that was a success because any public environment outside of her home was a threat to her life.
Right.
After someone comes in with a rifle in your workplace and starts shooting it up.
Yeah. You know, there's no reason to dissect why somebody would do this, right? Why somebody would take their own life.
It's pain, deep, deep pain that it's called hopelessness. They don't see how it's going to get better. And my brother fought for years, 6 years, and his therapist really tried.
Right.
You know, she probably kept him alive, to be honest with you.
The big thing that sticks out to me, and there's always the things that lead up, right? But then there's the things that actually push it over the edge. And when I think about the last year of Michael's life, and I remember you telling me about these things that took place, you know, he lost both of his parents.
We lost our mother. And then about 3 or 4 months later, he not only lost his father, he found his father
Yeah.
dead.
Right.
And that re-traumatized him. And when you have a compromised nervous system like he did because of PTSD,
Yeah.
and then to come upon your own father
Right.
in such a traumatic event like that,
Yeah.
it just compounded and re-triggered. He never got enough time to truly grieve and work through that visual.
Yeah. To have that happen in such close succession to one another, right? To have your mother pass, something that was more expected,
Yeah.
then to have your father have a fall
Yeah.
within months of each other.
And you find him.
And it's like, anybody would have a hard time dealing with that without having CPTSD and PTSD,
Right.
compounding that situation
Right.
and badly.
Right.
I look at that and I say, what the fuck do you do about that?
He didn't have a shot. And 3 or 4 months after he found his father dead, his dog of 15 years died.
Yeah.
It's just he kept getting punched and punched and
Yeah,
punched
yeah.
and punched.
I-
And that kid just fought for his life. He was handling it. He asked for help. He said what he needed.
Right.
And what is so important for people to understand about people who are on the edge, depressed, compromised nervous systems, PTSD, they don't ask for help. They don't want to be a burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't say, let me know if you need anything. You just go do the thing. You don't say, mental health, I'm sick of hearing about mental health, when they do say what they need. Listen, pay attention. It's real. I cannot stress that enough. And especially as a man, you understand. They especially don't want to ask for help.
No, they want to help.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be the burden. And I think that for men in general, I too, just like so many other men, have felt this solitude, loneliness that comes with this cloak that we bear. The cloak of being the strong one, the head of the household, or whatever people want to call you.
The leader.
The leader. I've run my own production company for 25 years, and you lead teams all the time. And there's really no time for you and no place for you to have a moment of weakness in that environment. At least I thought. I've had them. I'm not saying I haven't. However, there is something to be said for the loneliness that men feel. And just even contacting a therapist, for me has always been something that I never even thought of very much until now.
One of the things when I got into the business of therapy and executive coaching is it's predominantly women in therapy, or they will find a therapist for their husband, or they drag him in with the D word, divorce.
Yeah.
Executive coaching, they're more inclined to come alone.
Right.
And that matters. I'm great. Executive coaching is excellent. It's a start. I'm an executive coach because I have a business background before becoming a therapist.
Right.
And my doctorate's in organizational psychology leadership.
Right.
And positioned me to work with a lot of men. And I love working with men because, as you've learned, I'm very direct. And men like direct. They like roadmaps. But they also don't like to be seen as what they perceive therapy is. Crazy. It's okay that you get it if you're a woman, but I don't need it.
I don't think of it in that way particularly.
I hope not. You have a sister that's a therapist.
Well, absolutely. And I've learned a lot from her, too. I've got to say that.
Men are used to having coaches growing up. You played sports, soccer, went to college to, on a scholarship.
Right.
You're used to getting guidance from a coach. It's framing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why not a therapist as a man?
Simply because my mind like probably when I needed it the most,
Like depressed?
didn't even think about it because I was so locked into, I was the, captain of the soccer team, the volleyball team. I was that guy growing up. I ran my own company, was an entrepreneur straight out of college.
Still are.
The day I graduated.
Yeah.
And, so honestly, I never had a chance to even think about that because I really never had the space or the thought pattern away from that pathway, that cloak. It's that costume you wear, whether it's true or not. And I think that a lot of men on the outside, we portray it too, even if we don't feel it.
Yeah.
Simply because if you're a man, from my experience, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but
Sure.
if you're a man, you can't show that. In our minds, not in reality, in our minds. And I think that that's changing. I think it is. I think that paradigm is kind of shifting, but there's a period of time where it's a thought pattern, but it's not yet a habit. We can think about this as a great concept, right? Where men can be more vulnerable, but how we react to it is something different. And I think it takes time, quite a long time.
It
for
sure
people
does.
to-
I mean, transformational change. I mean, look, feminism is a transformational time in life that's taken many, many years and continues to we get
Yeah.
setbacks and then we move forward.
Yeah.
It takes so long to move a system
Yep.
or an ecosystem. You take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I think that that's what you're describing when it comes to men and getting connected to their emotions, number 1. Number 2, expressing them,
Yeah. It's a skill.
managing them,
Yeah,
and getting help.
absolutely.
It's a whole process. And that's some of the integration, that work that they need to do, which
Yeah.
is to say you can be human and still make mistakes or have struggles, and your children and family are still going to respect you. There's a deep felt fear of not feeling respected.
Yeah. I can remember throughout my life, one of the biggest things that actually created me, fear of failure.
Yeah, that's the number one thing that I hear from most men.
I was petrified of failing. It's what made me good at things, and that's sad. It is. That's what made me good at things, was that I was afraid to fail. And so I did everything I could to maximize my skill sets in everything that I did.
It's called a mask.
Continue.
I call it a mask. It's a mask. Lewis Howes wrote a book about it. Like, I think it's the 7 Masks of Men. And I try to encourage men to read that book amongst a few others. But
Yeah.
it's a mask that men wear. Sometimes it's intellect, sometimes it's athleticism, to protect their self-image. And I'm not saying women don't do that. I've certainly have, you take on a deep felt sense of responsibility as the golden child.
Sure.
And so that's a mask. It's performance. If they see me perform, then they are going to think I'm good enough or lovable or
Sure.
worthy or some version of that. People do it, but men just really carry that.
When it comes to men's mental health, in your practice, what's the most common thing that you come across in the mental health sphere?
It's what you said in the very beginning, this worldview that men carry
Yeah.
of I cannot fail or I don't want to be a failure.
Right.
They literally walk through life
Yeah.
with this worldview of I cannot fail, I cannot be a failure. It is in the everyday way that they even argue with their partners. It's to win an argument as opposed to collaborate and try to understand and be curious,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Until they've done deeper work. It's to win, because to not win means what, Robin, to a man? And I'm legitimately asking you.
We're using win in very general
Sure.
terms right now. But what did I fear would happen if I didn't win? I would lose my livelihood. I work in an industry where people spend a hell of a lot of money to have me and my team come and work for them. And I would always carry that pressure of, hey, don't fuck this up. These people are paying a lot of money for you to be here. And I think that some of that stems back probably to my childhood because of the consequence of it. All in all, my childhood was a cakewalk compared to a lot of people. And I had a lot of success in my childhood, and I had a lot of good memories from my younger years. But for whatever reason, the fear was there.
That sets a child up to believe that they can't.
They can't make a mistake.
Yeah. And that carries over into adulthood. If you are instead taught, what did you fail at today? And that's a good thing because it demonstrates you're trying.
Yeah.
It demonstrates that you are putting in the effort.
Yeah.
It demonstrates that you are showing progress because it was better than you did yesterday.
Sure.
Right? It demonstrates it's about the skills building,
Yeah.
not the outcome.
Yeah.
That's the difference, and that so many parents I see get wrong, well-intended as they may be. And so then I end up with the adult who's wounded because they learned that I'm only lovable or good enough if I'm winning or accomplishing or achieving.
Yeah.
And that develops deep felt sense of inadequacy,
Sure.
of worthiness, lack of worthiness. It's a self-esteem issue.
I can't say that in my childhood that I was shunned for losing.
But you said you couldn't make a mistake.
Well, I felt I couldn't.
Why not?
I don't know yet.
But as a kid, that's where you're learning that it's okay. I know that your divorce you've expressed to me was not, what I hear in my practice for a lot of men, which is like, it's a lot of men have a real struggle. Talk about that idea that they're a failure.
Yeah.
Divorce for a lot of men is that.
My ex-wife is a wonderful woman.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that our marriage was definitely infected by some circumstance. We came home from our honeymoon and the Great Recession was there waiting for us. And so we had a lot of trouble in that. But one thing that I can say that I regret the most is that I didn't have the emotional intelligence as a 30-some-odd-year-old man to navigate that.
Yeah.
To actually pull us through.
Yeah.
I regret that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were two good people.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I hadn't met enough true adversity in my life to understand what to do with it when it hit me. And that is the other side of this. I can't say that I come from privilege. But what I can say is that I was sheltered. I did not meet adversity in the ways that I maybe needed to deal with something as monumental as 2008. I appreciate that about my parents, that they protected us and sheltered us.
100%.
But I also know that I probably would have been a little bit more suited for the adversity that I had in my marriage and could have handled it better if I had more experience with getting fucked over.
And I'll tell you this. I know from what I do for a living that it's not until the pain is so bad that most people then go and get the help that they need. I wish more people came preventatively.
Yeah.
To learn the skills, the way they learn the skill for their job or the way they learn the skill for playing a sport. I wish they came into therapy and executive coaching to learn the skill in relating, relational health, emotional health, psychological health. What do you want men to know about men and mental health and getting support now that you've been doing this for a year with me?
I think that if you find a consistent discrepancy in your relational interactions, something consistently happening that you might be saying is happening to you, but is just happening over and over again, that you look inward. We can't get after ourselves for things that we shouldn't. That's one thing I will say. But when it comes to repetition in relational issues, that you start to look inward and try to understand, and you start to find help to help you to understand what is causing that.
I think it's also important to add that when we say men's mental health, When we talk about mental health, a lot of people think about what's in the DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is like the Bible for psychiatry that we use to diagnose people. ADHD, neurocognitive disorders, you name it, personality disorders.
Yeah.
What we're really talking about is psychology, self-esteem, worldview, the interactions, the traumas, the situations that you went through in life, and how did you see them? How did they impact you? What stories did you make up about them that then informed how you see yourself and you see the world and see other people? This is how we create our own identity or sense of identity of who we are in the world or what our value is.
Yeah.
This is our psychology, not just mental health. Like, are we okay? That's baseline. It goes deeper to how do I define myself? How do I see myself? Do I accept myself as I am, flawed as I may be?
I've had times in my life where I feel very misunderstood, you know?
Sure, of course.
Where it's just rampant conflict, where that's the water boiling. Too much pressure, too much you've been hanging on to, holding in, keeping to yourself, that item of isolation. When there's a lot coming at you and you have to absorb it and you don't have anyone to turn to, you have to turn to somebody. You need to turn outside of your sphere if you don't feel like you have somebody in it that you can turn to. Find a therapist for sure. Find a friend that is one, whatever it takes, to start talking about it to somebody, a men's group.
There's a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
the hardest thing that I know to be true is that when someone really wants to make the decision to end their life, there's only so much you can do to prevent that.
Yeah.
If they're hell-bent on it.
Yeah.
But damn. There are critical moments when a loved one does that, makes that decision.
Yeah.
You want to blame yourself. Could I have done more? I should have done more.
Yeah.
And while cognitively I know there's only so much I can do, you know, I think to myself, I missed that sign. And I'm supposed to know, but I was busy in my own life. I showed up trying, but also trying to do my life that was demanding of me as well at the same time, you know? And I think that's really important for people to hear.
And there's more. People that want to take their own life tend to be not very straight with people.
Oh, no.
And you have to see it on your own. And it's sometimes very obscure.
There's a duality of wanting to live and wanting to die.
Right.
So, for instance, when my brother said he wanted to come out and hang out with me, and then I said, oh, you've met Robin. Like, yeah, you know, he wants to join us for a drink and ... That felt very hopeful to me that he was getting better, that this would be really an important turning point for him.
Yeah.
I
was looking forward to that too.
Wanted to believe that was a turning point for him.
Yeah.
And I think that he was vacillating or oscillating is a better word, between wanting that, but also being in just such deep felt pain and not wanting to outwardly say it because he didn't want to burden, worry anyone, but he also didn't know how to be vulnerable. He did not know how to be vulnerable and be okay with that, saying, I need help.
You're from the Midwest.
Yeah. Different mentality.
That's not to generalize in any way, but tell me.
It's like what you said earlier about being from the South, your family
right.
from the South. It's very much a suck it up, be a man.
Yeah.
And he was for over 6 years.
Yeah.
Impressively, he was fighting to live. Someone that's that depressed and had that many punches to the gut, meaning the death and the trauma in just a short amount of 6 year span.
Yeah.
They're fighting to live.
And I have to say that, and I know this from experience, to be a therapist in your family is different than being a therapist to other people. And of course your family do come to you when they need something.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're offering it,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't get met with the same
No.
kind of welcoming, hello, please come and help me.
The thing is Michael wasn't used to having someone listen to him. People who are not used to people attuning to
Sure.
them, I ask questions. Tell me more. Help me to understand. Experience that as intrusive and call it analyzing me. I mean, one of the best gifts that my little brother gave me before he passed was he gave me a release of information to speak to his therapist. I did not know why he was doing that, meaning the real reason why.
Yeah.
He gave me a good story. So after his past, I as part of my healing, I needed to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask, what did I miss? I wanted to know, what were they talking about in the last few months? I don't need to know the last 4 years, but the last few months.
Yeah.
What were you working on? You know, I know some people would go and try to scapegoat a therapist, but I know better.
Of course.
I saw the pain in her eyes. She literally said to me, I'm trying to be professional right now. And I said, don't be. Be human. We are therapists. We care about our clients deeply.
Yeah. Right.
And you probably gave me an extra 6 years of my brother's life.
That's very, very real. Being a therapist in the family system, that's got to be challenging. And with Michael's therapist specifically, I would imagine in some ways was your best friend in that she was able to reach him in a way that a sister couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, even as a therapist, right?
He's my little brother, and I loved him.
Yeah.
He still frustrated the crap out of me, but we always wanted to be together when I was, you know, in the Midwest, or if he were to come out here. We still loved each other. He still wanted to protect me. He still wanted to care for me.
Yeah.
You know, even though we fought. We fought as adults too. We had really shifted our relationship many times, but particularly after our mom passed and then me finding out about his father passing, I knew how compromised he must be. And I didn't, even when he annoyed the crap out of me after that, I just let it go.
Yeah.
I just kept it quiet because he was fighting a battle that I knew that he just needed grace. He just needed to feel like he had a safe place to talk and turn to.
Sure.
So even when he would frustrate me, especially those last few years, I just kept it in and just let it go.
And I have been present for a good portion of these occurrences. We only knew each other so well when your mother passed, but I have been here for all of it. Not everything in your life, but the last year, which I do believe when you pack up and say goodbye to this world, it'll probably be remembered as one of the most significant years.
Adult years, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought 2021 was rough, and it was. My mom had a stroke and completely changed her life, couldn't speak anymore, and my dog died. And, you know, after I lost my mom, I thought that was a rough year, but you kind of know at some point you're going to lose a parent generally before you go.
Nobody prepares you for this time of life, do they? They prepare you for the job. They prepare you for all these things, but they don't prepare you for being 50. They don't prepare you for that.
They really don't.
When everyone starts to go.
They don't. And I think I've thought about that, and I think I know why. Nobody is going to want to grow up then. I mean, we got to get people excited about their futures. We got to get them, you know, on the straight and narrow to be productive citizens of the world.
Yeah.
If we actually go straight to and then when you're 50 something, divorce is going to happen. People are going to pass on you. economically you're no longer, desirable in the workforce. They can't tell you that when you're 20 years old, because what are they going to, they're going to go become surfers for the rest of their lives and say, screw that.
That's what surfers have going for them, to be honest. But I will say that I've lost 2 uncles this year.
Mm-hmm.
2 very dear uncles this year. It is so significant to anybody. And I think, who was it that we were interviewing? It was Travis, in fact.
Mm-hmm. He lost his mom.
And he said, you never really grow up until you lose a parent.
Yeah.
And
it changes you.
Yeah.
Even when, listen, there are plenty of people who lose a parent when they're like 5. And they didn't get to have the parent. So there's that too.
Sure.
But it does change you when you lose a parent, because you start questioning your own mortality and you start realizing that you don't have as much time as you think.
Yeah.
And I personally started questioning more of my spirituality, what is on the other side, in part because I want to be reassured that, not for myself, but that my brother's at peace.
Yeah.
That my mom is happy.
Right.
That they're okay.
Yeah.
You start going on a journey. And one thing, not all grief is created equal. Not all death is created equal. As devastating as it was to lose my mother, and it was, to lose my younger brother, and in this way, there's no word.
I had none. I was here. I didn't have any words to be next to somebody in that. And I think it's important for people to really think about how to handle somebody that is dealing with that in front of you, somebody you love, somebody that's close to you, being the person who needed that the most. What would you tell somebody that was the closest person to somebody that was receiving such enormously devastating news?
I definitely agree. Presence and availability.
Yeah.
A willingness to just let a person, in the middle of a movie, get up and just start crying, and not try to take it away from them, not try to tell them to, it's going to be okay, because it's not. Let them move through the emotion.
Yeah.
And to offer your emotional support in, like, do you want to talk about it?
Right.
I know I can see how much pain you're in. I'm here for you. And be okay if they don't want it. Be okay if they need donuts because they want to eat their feelings away. Go get donuts. It's probably in some weird way similar to like when a woman is pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess so. I do believe that you need to be hyper uncritical.
Yeah.
During that
non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Just know they're at their capacity. They're going through the grief cycle. Fluctuation between sadness, anger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you go through before you actually get to acceptance. When I found out, I was at the San Francisco airport and I turned away from everybody and I was looking out at the runway. I was crying, but what I wanted to do was just start punching the wall. This can't be true. I don't want this to be true. I don't make this be true. It is whatever comes out. Witness it. Allow it. Shoulder it. Anchor it.
And be patient with it.
Patient.
I would say that is the one major, if you want to survive the situation.
What's it like to be on the other side of it?
Somebody that's grieving something that heavy.
Yeah.
You have to, in some ways, desensitize enough, not in a healthy way, but in a way that allows you to stay there. I happen to be a sensitive human being. You need to grow some thick skin pretty damn quick and keep it there for a time. You and I had some interactions during your grieving, and you might remember I wasn't very talkative during those times.
No, you handled me like glasses of wine.
I remember there was a couch and there was a blanket waiting for you, and the remote control was on top of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing to where you need to leave yourself a bit and become a person of service for that human. And find your time away. Find your time to decompress. I've been in a pretty heavy situation earlier in life, and I found that I was there, and I was there for that person. But when I found a minute to leave and go outside and just collapse by myself, so that person didn't see me. You don't let people see that part, especially when the person next to you is grieving so heavily.
Agreed. By the way, that's what we do as therapists.
Yeah.
Every single day. There aren't times with some of my clients who are going through some really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I can show compassion and empathy, but I can't break down.
Yeah.
There have been times where I have curled in a fetal position and cried because I needed to let out the emotional energy that I was absorbing.
You have to do a lot of your own work, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have to have emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
And you get better at it. But still today, there will be moments or things that people share.
Sure.
You are invested in their life, in their well-being. And it extends well beyond a 50 or 90-minute session. I've gotten emails where they're like, I've got good news and bad news. And I'm like, my gut just dropped. But I'm going to find time for that client.
Yeah.
Triage, yeah. But, like, I don't want them to go through it alone. When they need me, I want to be there for them.
Yeah. I think that's a good sensibility to have. Well, my dear, it has been an amazing experience working with you so far. I've learned so much from you. It's much more than I would admit.
Because you want to win.
Maybe. But what I will say is your strength and your courage during this time has been, I've seen it. I've been here for it. The fact that you're sitting here with me tonight, the 1 month anniversary of this happening, just absolutely admire everything about you, your strength and your empathy when it comes to your clients and your family. I appreciate you, and thank you for talking with me and allowing me to come on the show and be the boss for the night, even though you took over.
For the night.
You took over.
Just talking to a camera tonight wouldn't have worked for me. So thank you for putting yourself in the position to lead. Can I have one of those hats?
The most important part of the night.
Whoops.
Jennifer. I am not a Niner fan, but I will wear this for that man any day.
I am.
I know.
Because of him.
Yeah.
Love you, Michael.
Love you, Michael.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen. It helps me a lot if you subscribe to our channel here and look out for future episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.